Thank you for tuning in to the best parenting show on the internet, Post Daily Dose.
It's the Post. It's the Post. It's the Post. The Post Daily Dose. It's the Post. It's the Post. It's the Post. The Post Daily Dose. It's the Post. It's the Post.
Hey, good evening, Facebook family. Are you guys there? I can't tell for sure because as soon as I clicked it, it said something about low recording, something or another, because I'm recording live. I'm in New York City at the Adoption Foster Family Coalition of New York City. They're having a special premiere of a video highlighting the journey of foster parents, and Pat O'Brien, who's a very dear friend of mine, is the interim executive director. And he invited me to come, and I happen to be out here for some other engagements, and so here I am. And hello, Mimi, I see ya. And so I'm at this amazing museum, the Damina Center for Classical Music. Nice little venue. So I had a question come up real quick. About stealing, and I want to pop out here and talk to you guys for just a moment. And also to tell you, thank you so much for traveling with me. When Big Papa Post goes coast to coast, you guys are always with me on the Daily Dose. Oh, I just made that up. That's pretty smooth, isn't it? So here we are. Had a question about stealing, and it was with a teenager. So I've talked about stealing in the past. What you have to understand about stealing is that stealing is very much an addictive behavior, especially as it continues. The longer the child does it, the more addictive it becomes. It is an external attempt to soothe an internal state, so it's very important. And when you think about that, and the reason I like to frame it that way is to help you remove the negative connotation. Because a lot of times we think about a child stealing from us. We think that they're taking it from us specifically. It becomes very personal. I'm having to switch hands. Don't have my usual podium. I did almost bring it with me tonight. We take it very personal because we think they're stealing from us, and it really has nothing to do with you as the individual, unless it's attachment-based kind of stealing where kids take their parents' clothes and things like that, and then it's still trying to soothe an internal state, but they're taking clothes and items because of the oxytocin it creates. But in the instance of taking other items that don't belong to them, what's important to understand is that it's almost always predictable. So when you start to pay attention to the child, the instances in which they take things, because stealing comes from a state of stress. When the child feels stressed, then they start to learn that taking things makes them feel better momentarily. And it literally does give them an oxytocin response in addition to adrenaline and norepinephrine and all these other, hormones that surge, probably serotonin, surge through the body. Whatever it may be, adrenaline, it reduces that immediate cortisol experience, creates the exciting experience, and so what happens is they are able to, for a short period of time, move away from the stress. And the negative feedback loop is that even though taking the item makes them feel better for a short period of time, hormones that get triggered, just like oxytocin that gets triggered through a physical activity, like say smoking or buying shoes or whatever, that lasts a very short time. It's estimated that it takes that oxytocin can clear completely out of the bloodstream in 20 minutes. So it doesn't last very long unless it is through relationship. When it's through relationship, it lasts longer in the body, in the brain, and in the body. So when the child takes the item, they feel better for a short period of time, but then the oxytocin wears off, the stress surges back, the cortisol surges back, and then there's the fear and anxiety and the shame and the guilt about having taken the thing. So now we have a negative feedback loop. So the thing you want to understand about stealing is that it's almost always predictable. Pay attention to the times in which your child's stealing. It's this particular question, the parent asked if it was okay to talk about the child taking the item. It's completely okay to talk to the child about taking the item, but the way you want to frame it is, I know you take things that don't belong to you when you feel stressed. So here's the thing. I know you're not taking them because you're a bad child. You take things that don't belong to you because you feel stressed. I want you to do me a favor. Because I want to help you feel safe. I want to create a trusting relationship and environment with you. And I'm going to ask you to take a risk. The next time you feel like you want to take something that doesn't belong to you, just come let me know. Give me an opportunity to be supportive. So you just have a really candid conversation. It doesn't have to be, it shouldn't obviously not be blaming or shaming or anything like that. And you really have to avoid that. Sometimes when we're not really aware of our own fear and our stress, blaming and shaming becomes a natural manifestation of our own stress and our own fear. And we don't mean it, it's not intentional, but that's the way it comes across. And so have a conversation with your child. Pay attention to the moments in which they tend to take things that don't belong to them. Think about how you can interrupt that stress and that anxiety for them. And open up the line of communication. Take away the stigma. Take away the fear associated with the stealing. And when you know they've taken something that doesn't belong to them, don't confront them on it. Just say, hey, when you get finished with that, could you please put it back where you got it from? Or just give it to me and I'll put it back. Don't make it a big deal. Now, if it's stealing from stores, truly, if you have a child who steals from stores, that shouldn't happen more than one time. Because after once, you should realize that the store is too stressful for the child. Therefore, you need to keep them with you when you're in the store. And you just have to help them understand. I know you guys have all heard me in my lectures, when I talk about stealing, when I say, you explain to the child that because the store is really stressful, you're going to have them get in the basket because in the basket you can keep them safe. I know you're 14 years old. Not really, right? But sometimes you might have a 14-year-old that wants to get in a basket. I just took 3 kids shopping in Walmart a week ago, and a 10-year-old little girl wanted to get in a basket. I let her get in the basket. The most interesting thing is they were being a little unsafe, and so I was about to have her get out, and she started goo-gooing and gaga-ing. You know what that told me? Told me that she was really regressed in that moment. So I didn't create a power dynamic, a power struggle. I let her stay in the basket, but I told her what I needed in order for me to feel safe about her being in the basket, which is to keep her booty on the bottom of the basket. Didn't have another issue after that. So if you have a child that steals from stores, keep them with you. Containment is the key. It's very important. So I hope that's helpful. Happy to revisit that. If you guys have more questions about stealing, just shoot us a messenger, and we'll be sure to get to it. And so I'm going to go enjoy this premiere. Remember, in any given situation, you always have 2 choices. You can continue to react from the same imprints and blueprints of stress and fear and overwhelm, or you can stop. You can take 3 to 10 deep breaths, even if it's this not so clean New York air. Take your 3 to 10 deep breaths and choose love. Big Papa loves you. God bless you guys. And I should see you tomorrow. I'm traveling to Oklahoma. So it's raining in Houston already. So going to already be flight issues. So we'll see you guys sometime tomorrow. All right. Take care. Have a good evening.